I'm going to turn things over to Stan, I was going to say, to start the accessory sharing session. And he's got a case and a keyboard that a lot of people have been asking him about it. They see it, and it's one of those, where did you get it? How does it work? So I will turn it over to him and let him share that.
My name is Stan Cruz. I'm a senior educational technologist with ITAP, in case you haven't met me before. Oh, sure. Here we go. So this case, I kind of joked that I got a little jealous of this case when I saw some of my colleagues have it. And I really like the iPad, but I struggled with it taking it to meetings. I could cart my laptop around, but I really wanted to use my iPad, take notes and so forth. But I struggled with the keyboard on the screen, which probably a lot of you do. I'm very much a by feel typist. So having absolutely no feel on a screen was, I mean, even if I looked down, I was having a hard time typing. So I got the Zag Folio case. Let's see how well, I guess that's upside down. So the way it works is it just opens up. It's a Bluetooth keyboard. The iPad sits nicely in the little slot. And generally it'll fall asleep after a while. But if I hit the shift key a couple times, and then I can go ahead and type my notes here. And it has a real excellent feel to it. Case closes nicely, has all the holes in the right place for the camera and the speakers and so forth. Works really well. So from a productivity standpoint, using it for note-taking applications and things like that, email works very well for email. It runs on a battery with a USB charger, and according to the documentation, it needs a charge about every 6 months. I've had it for about 2 months, and I have yet to plug it in to have to recharge it yet. So, and I leave it on constantly. The downside to the case is the flexibility of actually folding it over. You kind of have this huge keyboard in the way to use it for other things. So it is kind of bulky in that regard. It doesn't slide in and out of the case very well. So if you wanted to pull it out, it takes a little bit of effort. But other than that, for 90% of my uses, it works extremely well. About $80, $90 on Amazon. And we just tested it tonight, and the third generation of iPad does actually fit inside of it. Even more snugly than this one does. So if you'd like to take a look at it or see how it functions, I can show it to you after the meeting. Any questions about it? As far as setting it up, basically put the thing in, turned it on, the iPad recognized it, and boom, it worked. So it's actually idiot-proof. I couldn't even mess it up if I tried. So, all right, great.
Okay. All right, so that was really the primary one that we wanted to share just from our side. So does anybody have any accessories or styli? I mean, it could be anything that you found useful with your iPads or tablets. Make sure that I'm inclusive. Yeah. Do you want to come up front? Not trying to put you on the spot, but. And then I did want to tell everybody, we do have some microphones in here, so if you have questions for anybody that decides they want to share, we really do want to try to get the mic over to you so everybody can hear in the recorded session.
Well, I use this Belkin portfolio thing. They make it for most Android devices and iPads, and basically it holds your tablet up so that you can, if you need to type with your thumbs, or if you have like a Bluetooth keyboard, then
So people can.
okay. If you have a Bluetooth keyboard, you can just set it on the front here, and you can type. So that's my accessory.
Okay. Thanks. Okay.
as I'm miking up here. So last week I got one of the new generation iPads, and my first question is, what case am I going to put it in? I didn't have an iPad 2, so I had an iPad 1, so it obviously did not fit in that case. I went ahead, I didn't really want to spend the money that the Zag was going to cost. I didn't really want to spend the money that Apple wanted to charge for the magnetic front cover, the $40 piece of polyurethane goes on the front or whatever. So I just went to Amazon and I got this one. This is called a crown case, or case crown, I guess. So we have a generic leather case. It was made for iPad 2, but it works for the new one as well. Most of them do, some don't. Right now, the manufacturers are starting to label them as new iPad and iPad 2 if they work for both, but some of the labeling still being caught up right now, just because the new one's just a little thicker. It's just a little bit bigger. But anyway, I'm liking this case for something that cost me $20. It has the magnets in the smart cover, so it'll turn off and on just by opening it. The other thing I like about it is that, it's one of these that has this flap that's folded here, but this has Velcro on it, so actually I can tighten it and it holds it pretty well here. So just for a cheap case, in terms of $20, opposed to $40, $60, $80, $100, this has been working well for me. You get your camera slots and you get everything that you can want. It has a little bit here, so you can use it as a stand as well. So I just thought I'd show you that. Like I said, just on Amazon, there's all kinds of third-party retailers selling cases for cheaper. And this one actually had 500, 600, like 4 or 5-star reviews, and that's why I went ahead and chose this one as opposed to some other ones. But that's that.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Okay, anybody else?
You have to carry it separate, though, right?
Yes. There you go.
I was just wondering who's using a stylus with their iPads, and can you write on the screen in cursive or in your handwriting, and will it translate to typeface?
Sure. Can I have the lapel link?
Yeah. There you go.
Hi, my name is Jason Moran. I work over in University Residences. The stylus that I use is a bamboo stylus. It's a heavier weight stylus. I've used one that I used a Target stylus before this. The nub is a little finer. I didn't like the nub on the end of the Target stylus, so that's what I use. If you want to tool around with it, you're welcome to. And then I also have, I use in terms of writing to text, I use PhatPad, P-H-A-T pad, as an app. So, other questions about that? In terms of cases, would it be easier up there or out front? Okay.
Preference?
I use, it's from Pad and Quill. There's variations, whether it's Pad and Quill or, there's also one that's made by another company that I can't think of the name right now.
Can you check to see if that mic's on? I think a button might have got hit on it.
Sorry about that.
Should be a little push button on the top.
Yeah, it's on.
Is it green?
Oh, there. Is that better? Sorry about that. So this is by Pad and Quill. So in terms of opening it up, you can use it. So I carry a keyboard. I carry the Apple keyboard with me, the Bluetooth keyboard, separately because I like to just use my iPad at some times and not have to have a keyboard with it. So you can very easily turn it upside down or open it up. It also does carry in the back. It has place for a pocket for papers while you're there. Pretty easy to get out. So that's what I use. Questions or better pictures or other angles? pad and quill, and starts at I think $60, and then there's ones that go up to like 80, 85. So
Thanks. Okay, I saw quite a few hands go up when the question was asked whether or not people were using Stylus. Is there anybody else that would like to come up and share what type of stylus they're using? Would you like to come on front? Here you go. That's fine.
Hi, my name is Dan Schuster. I would have liked to have answered your question a lot better, but I just got this weekend and haven't really had a chance. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal last week that rated different note-taking apps and rated different stylus, and based off of that, this is the Targus. The other guy was talking about the bamboo. So this is, I guess, a little bit bigger. But it seems to work well. And the two apps they were talking about was Notability as a app. And that's, I think, 99 cents. And there was a Note Taker HD, which is like a $4.99 app. And both of those seem to be did well on the review. There's several YouTube videos talking about them online you might want to consider looking at. That's all I had.
what was the first app again?
Notability.
And the other one?
Yeah, and I think the next one was Note Taker HD. Actually, I should open up my iPad and look, but haven't had a chance to do a lot of use with them. But seem to be pretty reasonable apps. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, anybody else?
And we had a couple questions online, just
Okay.
people, if we could get a repeat of what brand stylus in case were presented.
Okay, the last one was the Targus, and the first one was the bamboo. Okay, yeah.
So in your promo, you had, or somebody had a stylus that had a little round thing on it?
Yeah. So the one that she's mentioning, the star of the show, not that one, that's a Bic pen. There we go. Is the, yeah, I don't recommend using that on the iPad. That goes back to our first promo of good idea, bad idea. But the stylus that you saw marching down the runway was the Jot. And so the way that the Jot works, it's a little different when you look, or if you're going to compare it to regular styli. So instead of having a ball on the end, and hopefully you guys will be able to see this, it tapers to a point. I mean, it's just like and it actually has a feel, I mean, like a regular pen or pencil, but there's a small plastic disc on the end. The reason that I like it so much is because I can see where the tip is when I'm writing. It's not being covered up by a larger, end to the stylus. And I guess as far as the ability for writing, because I know we had a question about cursive and how well it actually works. I mean, I think this one's great, so. But I mean, it works perfectly fine as far as, okay, I can see. And if you're doing anything with a lot of detail, again, that's where I can see the disc right now. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that on screen. The disc is completely covering up the little spot that I've been writing. Oh, and I just erased it. So I think it's extremely convenient. I have had people ask whether or not the disc would scratch the screen. I've been using this thing for months, and I haven't had any problems with that whatsoever. So, yes, Chris? I have not. Now, I do know that on their website, they do sell like little 5-packs. So I'm sure that at some point, you could wear one out, or I've got a feeling you'd have a better chance of accidentally stepping on it and breaking it versus it wearing out because of use.
And what did you say the name was again?
It's the Jot. The $19.99, I want to say.
I've been using that one for a while, and I will put one downside to it is that there's no clip on it, first of all, and it's also completely round. So if your table's not exactly level, it will
Now that
will easily
that
roll
one is
off.
true, and my coffee cup has played defense with
And,
this
you know,
multiple times.
It's a little thing, but it's really kind of a pain in the neck because you set it down and off it goes. It is one of the smoothest rolling writing instruments I've ever seen.
Yes.
So are the stylus, is it a delicate thing? I mean, is it a pain to transport? You have to worry about it being damaged, especially with plastic going in?
No, it's where you saw me pull this out of my back pocket. It's there all the time. So, yeah, it's been real durable. But like I said, the advantage, well, I guess I should say this, it's an advantage that they've built into it. To try to prevent you from snapping the little disc, it's got a screw-on cap. So they do come in a variety of colors, so you don't have to get just red if you really want to personalize it. So
Another one of our runway. Was this the one that fell off the runway? I don't remember.
no, that was the sassy one at the very
The
end.
sassy one, that's right. It's a really small one. It's a DAGI, DAGI, capacitive stylus. It's very thin, has a little plastic clip on it. It does have one downside though. It stopped working. So I guess that's a case of the tip wearing out. I'm not sure. One looked at some reviews, and sure enough, there are other people were complaining about the same thing, that after a month or two, it just stopped working. But this has absolutely doesn't do what it was designed to do. So I don't recommend it personally. And it doesn't, it doesn't exactly appear that the tip can be easily replaced. So I'm not sure why it stopped or if there's some coating on the plastic disc. A lot of artists reviewed it as being very good because it has just a red dot in the clear disc, and so they could do fine detailed work with it. But like I said, after a very short time, it stopped working.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Yes, Dean.
I have a question about the stylus that Stan showed. The bamboo looks like it has a bigger ball at the end, and so does it create a wide print as I'm printing on the iPad, or is it narrow like?
No, I was going to say no. Most of the styli that I've looked at, and I suppose that there could be applications out there that would detect that you're trying to do it. I think it would be app specific. With most of the note-taking apps that I've tested, the iPad, you select how thick you want the line from the actual app settings, and it's only detecting the center, I guess it's almost like center of mass, the central location, and then it's going from there with the stylus.
Yeah, I believe the thickness of the lines are always set by the settings of the application itself. Otherwise, people with bigger fingers would have bigger lines, and I don't think that's the way it works.
Yeah, and I think there's some accuracy limitations of the iPad itself, so.
Okay. Anybody else? Any accessories or? Yeah.
I'd just like to make another quick comment about the stylus. Another application where the stylus comes in very handy is if you're using your iPad with an application like Splashtop or LogMeIn to access a remote computer. Sometimes hitting those little boxes and little check boxes on a remote computer, like on a web page or on a form or something, and manipulating files on a remote computer. Your finger, yes, you can zoom in on the screen, but if you use a stylus, you can pinpoint exactly where you want to touch on the iPad screen, and it's very helpful in that situation. In addition to using like Splashtop Presenter or Whiteboard and marking up presentations or doing the other whiteboard applications as well. So much easier to be more precise with a stylus than it is your finger on when you're working in high detail environment like that.
Yep. Good point.
Hey, Adam, we have a question from online. Donnelly was wondering how people dealt with using a stylus or even just your finger and having your hand rest on the iPad. How you get around that and sharing any annoyances you might find.
Does anybody want to make a comment?
Yeah, one of the two apps I mentioned, the the Notability actually has a wrist rest built into it that allows you to be able to draw without having your wrist affected.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments? Okay, I'll go ahead. I know that at least in my experience, in the app that I was just showing, Pen Ultimate is the same way. You actually go through and you can configure it where it's got multiple options for how do you tend to hold the stylus as far as the direction that it's going to be coming into contact with. And then as far as wrist protection, are you left-handed, right-handed? So like for me, right now my wrist is on the iPad and it knows it and it'll start to go. Every once in a while, you might get a couple little marks. It doesn't take long to clean that stuff up if you're going to be that picky. But yeah, I mean, this one's fully configurable. So I've got that one set up. I rarely have problems with that. Okay, anybody else? Any other questions from Connect?
I just have a quick item.
Yeah.
Can I borrow one of the mics? Yeah. Okay. One of the things, I'm actually very early in the research, but I got a camera connection kit, which for $30, what you get is these two little guys here, so they don't look as snazzy as they could. This one is actually designed to fit an SD card in the end, and then the other end fits into your iPad. And that I haven't actually had an opportunity to use that yet, but the other one is kind of nifty in that it has a USB port on it, and it's designed for you to be able to plug a camera directly into it. However, what I'm working on doing with it is using it for other USB devices. In my case, primarily, this is a microphone preamplifier, which happens to work with it quite nicely. So on the front here, I've got a spot for two microphones, two regular analog microphones. This is very early in the research project, as I said, and what we're hoping to do eventually is find a nice USB wireless mic that we can plug into the iPad for doing things like the remote captioning we're testing today. So instead of having to haul a laptop into a classroom for something like this, hopefully sometime we would be able to actually, use like a wireless lavalier mic, and someone in the front could wear the mic, and then it would actually wirelessly transfer the audio to the iPad.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Okay, well, if you as we kind of go on throughout the meeting, if you think of something that you would like to share that is an accessory, feel free to do that. But we've got about we're halfway through, so I guess I'd like to open it up and get back to sharing apps now that people have found relevant. Especially, I know some of you had made comments, we were talking about Stylus, that, oh, well, this is the particular app that I use, and maybe I should have just brought it up. Feel free to come up and share those so we can all learn from each other. So I'll open the floor. Yes?
I have a request for that. Is that okay? Can I do that?
Yeah, that's fine.
I've been having a hard time. Can you pass that? I can project. I assume it's working. I've been trying to use my iPad to access the library of all the journals, the electronic journals that we have online there. And getting them so that I can read them on iAnnotate or something is kind of a pain. It's actually quicker for me to sit down on my computer, download the PDF, upload it to Dropbox, and then download it back to my iPad. That seems like a lot of steps. Are there any apps that could handshake with something like a Dropbox or with any of the applications we do have, so that it's more like a newsstand, the one that's already built in for commercial things, but something so that we can access our library's electronic holdings and download PDFs of current journal articles and store them, so it doesn't. I mean, it's taking me an hour or two to download the things that I need to download to read. I just put that out there. I've asked for the librarians for help. They're not sure what to do with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to make this too quick.
Okay. Does anybody ran into this, found a solution?
Question.
Yes.
Can you email them to yourself?
Yes. I can. Yeah, I can.
Okay. With the Kindle updates, you can now get a Kindle email address.
Right. I got that.
And you can just slide the PDFs directly into your Kindle app.
The slow part, the bottleneck is still accessing the journal through the library's online interface. You have to sign in and then go through, and then oftentimes you have to sign into Wiley or some of the other EBSCO or something like that in order to get to the PDF and download it. And I'm just wondering if there's a way to facilitate a quicker movement, if it is to iBooks or to Kindle or to iAnnotate or whatever our application is. If there's a way to access the electronic journal information, the PDF, quicker, so that I don't have to do 3 moves in order to get it to my computer or my iPad. That's. Thank you.
No, we had.
And I have a question as well. If any of you are porting existing applications to run on your iPad, if you're using Dreamweaver, some application like that, it has code that you can put in your web page such that when you click on it, it'll go and open up your desktop for you to get to an attachment. In Safari, or the browser that's on the iPad, that does not work. Does anybody else run into that issue with opening attachments through a standard HTML stuff? You have?
It's getting much better.
Any workarounds?
Go back to the MacBook Pro and download it there, and then upload it to Dropbox, and then download it back.
Yeah, I was going to say the only thing that I could think of, and I haven't tested it, and I think we would probably still run into problems once it gets to the point where it wants a authentication for EBSCO, but offline pages actually will go through, if you go to a website, it mines the website and then actually stores it locally on the iPad for viewing, when you're completely offline. And I know that I've been on web pages that have PDFs, there's just links to PDFs, and it was able to capture the raw PDF files. But like I said, with the security, I'm not sure if that would work, but it could be worth giving it a try. Okay, anybody else?
I don't know if it would work. That's why I was.
Yeah, just throw it up.
Well, I don't know. See, not knowing specifically what's going on because
You're getting up to the page.
I'm trying to jump in and look at libraries and try and see if I can do stuff. But I don't know if Instapaper would help. That was like Instapaper does similar things. It pulls, it saves documents for reading later, and you can basically put it as a bookmark in your bookmark section. And just by clicking on Instapaper in your bookmark section, it saves it, and then you open in the Instapaper app, and you can go back and read it offline. So.
Okay. Anybody else? Got an app that they're just dying to share? Yeah.
Stick it up front.
Okay.
I'll just take it.
All right. There you go.
I don't know if anybody's interested, and if so, I can send it to whomever. But when I moved to the iPad 1, I originally used to carry 2 Covey notebooks. I used to do a lot of daily notes, task management, meeting management, crosswalks, where I keep track of stuff for the university, such as funds, so on and so forth. So my goal was, when I invested in the iPad, was to get out of those 2 notebooks into the iPad and go mobile.
So if you're interested, what I've been doing for the last couple of years is actually tracking a variety of apps that I've tried and have put this in a format, and we've been distributing it amongst some groups of us. So for instance, here's task management, what I was looking for, some of the applications that I tried, some of the things that didn't work. I do have a piece in there, and people are like, what do you mean by bridge? But that 3 jumps where you have to connect from A to B, I've been calling it bridging. And so then how do you bridge the data inside of the iPad to either a network drive or the desktop? And so I have it on task management, meeting notes typing, and daily notes is actually one of my favorite ones. Meeting notes, handwriting, and I do have 4 different things. And again, this is my personal opinion why I didn't like certain apps. Like, I'm actually not a big fan of the
Penultimate.
Yeah. I actually prefer Note Shelf. It's actually my favorite. Administration meetings, so when I meet within our groups and like to have kind of a notes area, I have some with that. Crosswalk management, it's PDFs. Simple content creation, most of you are familiar with the Quick Office and Docs to Go. The complex, if you're not familiar with the new OnLive desktop that's been released, you can now get Internet Explorer on your iPad. Accessing network files, SharePoint files, and then just for fun, one I use almost every week, every day is Book Crawler. It's one of my favorites. Keeps track of all the books I'm reading. So if you're interested, I can get it to somebody, and you're welcome to share.
Yeah.
So just FYI.
I can. So everybody will have access. And actually, I think I've seen a copy of that before. So she really does have a lot of good information inside that. And I haven't tested all of the apps that she's listed, but a fair share of them. And she's right on in what she's saying they can do and what they can't. OK, anybody else? Everybody shy today? Yeah.
Probably really basic, but what is the accessory that you need to hook up your iPad with classroom?
Computer? Yeah, okay, so what she was asking was how do we actually get the iPad's display up on screen? And what you're going to need is the iPad 30-pin plug, and it's just the adapter is going to VGA. So most, if not all, of the TIC sites that we've got, you're going to have the VGA input. So it's just a matter of hooking it up to that and then plugging it into the iPad. Like I said, and I guess I can go ahead and do that. Maybe. Okay, let's switch screens. They got it set up. So there you go. And it's going to show anything. Now, you have one thing to keep in mind if you're going to invest in the VGA adapter. If you are a user of an iPad 1, you don't get true screen mirroring. So, if I want to go ahead right now, I just want to see, for lack of a better term, the desktop. I can go ahead and it's going to show anything that's actually being displayed on the iPad with an iPad 2. With an iPad 1, you're not going to get this. It's not going to. If I just had it on my home page like this, you're not going to see anything. It doesn't pick that one up that there's actually any video that's being sent out as output. So it has to be select apps that have that capability built in. So if you have an iPad 1, certain apps will display, other apps will not. So if you want to do Angry Birds, I can confirm that Angry Birds works, but haven't done a lot of other testing for that. But yeah, so that's, and I think they're 30. I want to say it's $29.99 is how much it's running. So $30 and you've got that. I'm actually looking, I'm doing some research right now, and I haven't found a good way to get one yet. But to kind of bypass that cable and actually do wireless mirroring within the classroom. So that one, I have seen online that there is, similar to what David was showing for the SD card readers, that there's an wireless AV transmitter. It is not being manufactured by Apple, and I don't believe that they want it being manufactured. So it's one of those buyer beware. I can neither confirm nor deny whether it's an official product. You cannot find it at a, I don't want to say reputable, your big online retailers will not stock them. So, but that's something else that we're kind of looking into.
Does it display in landscape mode too, the screen?
I believe, let's find out. Yep. So yeah, so it knows your orientation. Okay, anybody else have any questions or things that they want to share? Yeah.
Well, I don't have an iPad. But I was wondering, is there like some type of keyboard manipulation, like so that your thumbs don't break whenever you have it in landscape mode? So like, you know, you can, instead of having a full keyboard like this, you can split it to, is there like, okay. Oh, you can pull it apart? I didn't know that. Okay. All right. That's my question.
Okay, there we go. Great. Anybody else? See, now this is where. Oh, what do I?
The only reason I asked that is because on the Android you can download something, and I didn't think it was on there before, but maybe with the new iOS that came out, that just came out with that. So, because I know that whenever I type without having that broken up, my fingers hurt really bad. So.
Okay, did everybody actually hear how that was? It's just when the keyboard is open, just put 2 fingers on it and then just pull them apart, like you're trying to split the swipe in opposite directions.
Oh no, I broke it.
Call Apple for warranty repair. Yeah.
Oh. So I have an app. This is not an iPad app, but it's an iPhone app, and it allows you to transfer your photos from your phone to your device wirelessly.
Yeah, you know, if you want to.
Yeah, it's called Photo Transfer App. Yeah.
You want to show?
Well, I can.
Yeah.
Guess. Really, all it does is it puts it on a page on your network or something, and then you just download it from there. What do I do? Oh.
You can just set it on that. You don't have to clip that on, but
Okay.
just hold it so they can hear you.
Okay. So I haven't received anything to my phone yet, because my problem is trying to get the photos off my phone onto whatever. And so you just press send, and then you select, you tell it where you want to go, Apple's window or an iPad or another iPhone. And then you pick out which ones you want, which of your photos, and then you just pick out, you know, and then those are the ones, and then it just, when you're done, it gives you either, it lets you do it wirelessly, or it gives you this address here where you can go and download them on your other device. Does that make sense? Yeah, works pretty good. It's pretty fast, not too bad.
Okay, thanks.
Is that a paid app or is that a free app? Okay.
All right, a question from online. Pat Reed asks, is there a series of apps that connected together to provide Outlook-like functionality, assuming specifically tasks, emails, calendars, that would work together on an iPad. Does anyone have any Outlook type apps that they know of?
I've had this conversation with her already. So I was going to say, does anybody have anything that they've used that really tries to give you the full functionality of Outlook? Or really good task lists?
OnLive allows you to bring up Internet Explorer, which allows you to use OWA. OnLive desktop. I can bring it up.
Yeah, if you. Do you want to do the doc cam or VGA? Okay.
I don't do split. Yes. Duh.
We're a trusting group, but possibly not that trusting.
Yeah. All right, hang on here. I still don't have anything set up. You can talk about something else.
Anybody else have any, while she's pulling that up, anybody have any other questions or?
Has anybody been able to figure out how to access multiple calendars? So like, say we have conference rooms and things like that we want to view. We have conference rooms and things like that we want to view the calendars for on Outlook, but really the iPhone or iPad only lets you access your own Outlook calendar. Has anybody else figured out how to get the Exchange calendars?
Anybody?
Yeah, you can add multiple Exchange accounts to your iPad or your iPhone, and then when you go into the Calendars app on the iPad, you can select which calendars to display. You can display them all one at a time or select individual ones. So it's real easy to do. You just have to create an Exchange account for each of the Exchange calendars you want access to.
Can you use the same Exchange account for all those different accounts and then only activate the calendars for the?
I don't know about that. I've never tried that.
Yeah, I guess that's my question. If you have the multiple accounts like you're talking about, do you know what the logins and passwords are for all those different accounts to get those multiple calendars? Right.
Okay, so this made me a happy girl. It is full functionality of Microsoft Office 2010, Excel, PowerPoint, IE9, Adobe Reader. It also has sticky notes. It has Paint, Calculator. It is a free app, and you will have to register also on onlivedesktop.com for what I consider the bridge, the cloud. So it doesn't sync with Dropbox for the free level. But you do get 2 gigs free of space, and then you'd have to download it off your desktop. They do have a $4.99 plan, which I'm currently testing. It does give you priority access, so they do have limited number of Office licenses. With priority access, I don't know if you bump people or you just get moved up in line. Since I've purchased the license, I do find I can always get in. And then they're working on further licenses. There's a $9.99 one that comes with 50 gigs. They're also looking at enterprise. It's not available. But the only thing I don't like about it is that it goes into a PC keyboard once you bring it up, but it also does have a stylus. It looks like, Pat and I were talking, it looks like it has the old tool, what did you used to call it, tool tip or?
Windows tablet application.
Yeah, so you can do the stylus. But as you can see, it's full Office 2010. So I actually tested it. I saved a document into the OnLive workspace. I brought up OWA. I could see the file, I attached it, I sent it to myself, i.e. bridge, it takes a little bit of time, you have to be creative, and I could get it out. But this is wonderful. So.
Okay, thanks.
So how much trouble did you have getting into it before you paid the $4.99?
I don't know how much of it was not getting it, having to be in line, or still having holes with some of the PAL 2. So once PAL 3 and we're better coveraged, it'll give me an opportunity then to go off the subscription, try it without, and see if it makes a difference.
I have a question for the presenter. What version do you have to get IE9 to work? Because I just tried it and it says the online desktop standard service does not support general web browsing.
I was using my iPad 1 prior to moving and was
So
able to bring up IE with it.
So you got the free version, you did not pay when, and you could get IE to work?
Yes. What the $4.99 is, it's supposed to do something with Flash, and it does give you the Dropbox Gmail access. But I had been using it with the iPad 1 without a problem.
I'm using the free version also, and it told me the same thing. So I think it just might be web page specific. Like I think it's specific to. It's not working. I couldn't
So
get.
there may be an issue then with IE9.
On somebody else's recommendation, I downloaded this app because there's a Purdue service tool, Taleo, which you have to use for job searches, and it only works on IE. So I would love to be able to pull that up on my iPad, and I've yet to find something that can. So if anybody... I'll show you mine if you'll show me yours.
Thanks.
What version of iPad do you have?
Interesting. Okay, anybody else have anything that they want to share? Burning questions?
Does anybody with the new iPad want to share a little bit about their brief experience with it?
Just I don't know how many of you already have the new iPad. A couple. All right. So the thing in the news right now is heat. The heat on the back of it. Have you guys noticed that? Do you all 3G or 4G? I have a Wi-Fi one, and I still have the heat on the box. Like every once in a while, it's not all the time, but I can feel it through the leather case. I can feel. And it's not all the time, but it's sometimes. Biggest difference is, I mean, I've been reading the specs. I don't know what everyone else thinks. I didn't have an iPad 2, but I've seen them. The new iPad for me is essentially an iPad 2 with a better screen, higher resolution camera. That was about. I mean, those were the big difference. And the 4G, if you have the cellular connection, those were the big changes I saw. Besides that, I think it's pretty much mostly the same internal stuff in terms of there's more battery, but that's to power the screen, so it lasts about the same amount of time. It takes longer to charge. I think I've had like 4, 5, 6 hours to charge sometimes, depending on how far down I am. I also read today, I haven't used this personally since I heard I charge overnight normally. But I heard that the new iPad may be having troubles with charging in the sense of it may list as 100% charged, but it actually has another hour of charge to go on it. And so people are opening it, starting it, and suddenly dropping 10% really quickly. So I haven't noticed that personally, but that's something that I've read about. So that may be a firmware fix coming up. But was there anyone else that wanted to share? Those were just kind of my general thoughts. I mean, I moved from the iPad 1 that was a lot faster. I don't know that the processor is a lot faster in terms of from an iPad 2. I think the graphics is a lot more because it has to power the screen, but I don't think that the apps run any faster from 2 to 3 necessarily. I don't know. You guys can disagree with me if you want, but.
Is it a visible difference to you with the
The resolution, yes, it's definitely visible, especially if you put text on a screen. You also notice, I guess you don't notice it if you're using like your iPad 2, iPad 1. You use this for a week, you go back and look at the other one, and the icons look cloudy. Just like there's like edging around them and all that kind of stuff, and it's just getting used to the extra resolution.
So question.
Okay.
The iPad comes with a beefier charger. What happens if you mistakenly plug in your iPhone to the iPad charger? Will it hurt it? Sorry?
Just takes longer.
Takes longer.
You can plug in your iPhone to the new charger.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like you can plug it into your computer and charge. Oh, it didn't charge.
The computer charging, it depends on what type of computer and what kind of port you have. Like, I can never get to charge off of a USB port on my PC, but my Mac charges. So it depends on how, and it's also how powered the USB is. Like sometimes the ports on like monitors don't have as much power going into them as the ones that are actually on the machine itself. So all that takes into account of whether it can charge the battery. You plug it in.
Okay, well, it looks like it's about that time. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Again, if you need to get on the email list and want to, send me an email, haganab@purdue.edu, and I will send out an email as soon as we know the date for our next meeting. So thanks for coming.